We live in a world of narcissism. This culture trains us to be narcissists without us even realizing it most of the time. Really, narcissism is just a clinical term to describe a spiritual condition, which is the idolization of self. For one own person to make them own selves their own God. The temptation for someone to make themselves their own God reaches all the way back to the Garden of Eden. It was the very thing that Satan tempted Eve with, to be like God. Satan insinuated that by God holding back the knowledge of good and evil, that he was somehow being corrupt in doing so. So he provokes Eve's desire to want to be her own God, and she takes that status into her own hands when she partakes of the fruit. And so her and Adam fell into the same temptation that you and I collide with every day, and that's to be like God. This world has a lot of things that they like to say and to tell us. Live your truth. Decide what is good for you. Do what makes you happy. Cut people off that don't make you happy. Quit that job that doesn't make you happy. All that matters is that you feel good about yourself. Your happiness is all that matters. You are the source of your own truth. You're enough for yourself. You're perfect the way that you are. Now, these statements on the surface seem like a really nice thing to say. They seem like a healthy way for someone to feel like they're loved, like they're special, they're good enough, they're moral, they're clean. But they're a lie. All of them. What this is doing is this is ascribing God-like characteristics to fallible, imperfect human beings. Let's see what this has gotten us. 2-3 decades of this sort of positive self-talk where we have walked around saying, oh, you're good enough, you're amazing, your happiness is all that matters. What has 2 or 3 decades of doing this? Well, we have the highest suicide rate ever. We have the highest rate of mass shootings in the history of the world, the highest rate of depression, the highest rate of mental illness, the highest rate of high school dropouts, the highest rate of crime amongst young people, the highest rate of teenage pregnancies, the highest rate of abortions, the highest rate of gender confusion, the highest rate of body dysphoria, which is this condition where people will hyper-obsess about what they perceive to be bodily imperfections about themselves. The highest rate of drug use, the highest divorce rate ever, and it's never been easier to get a divorce, the highest rate of sexual deviancy amongst minors, the highest quantity of pornography material available, the highest percentage of couples living together before marriage, lowest percentage of available healthcare professionals due to overwhelming demand. Man, this whole last couple decades of positive self-talk where we walk around and tell people they're good enough, that's really worked out well for us, hasn't it? What it's actually doing is it's destroying us. Because it's setting a standard that is based off of a lie that we cannot reach. This positive self-talk stuff actually is setting us up for failure. And what it does is at the end of the day, it leaves a person feeling more hopeless than they were before because it points the answer to their problems back to the person that has the problems. An empty person cannot find the answer to their emptiness in their own self, which is already empty. That is essentially, quantifiably, the example of the blind leading the blind. An empty person, you and me, needs the hope of the gospel. Something outside of ourselves. We are not our own answer. And positive self-talk, though it makes people, it's got a little dopamine hit and a little raise in serotonin, makes us feel better in the moment. At the end of the day, when you lay your head on your pillow, it's not true.